What's up, Nerdles? I want to start off this month's commentary video with a few thank yous. First of all, I have to thank the people who are contributing to this series by putting their music in the hashtag Nerdle content channel. Seeing that what I'm doing here is in some way encouraging you to make music means the world to me. And it's especially satisfying knowing that you guys are also supporting each other with words of kindness. Like to see somebody say that they like something that someone else in the community made. I don't know, it just really warms my heart. So if you want to join that crucial and supportive community, you can do that by clicking on the Discord invite link in the description down below. I also want to thank the people that bought Depression Verses on Bandcamp. Because of your help, we raised $133 for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. This is massive. I created Nurture as some way for me to start contributing to the mental health and the mental well-being of people who like math rock and emo music. To know that we're now banding together as a math rock and emo community to support experts in developing ways to help this community directly, it's just perfect. It's exactly what I want to be doing. So thank you for buying Depression Verses, and thank you for streaming on Spotify, because the royalties are also going to go to charity. The next EP is going to come out in September. All the sales for that EP and all the royalties for that EP will also go to charity. By the way, Depression Verses only has around 500 streams on Spotify right now, and considering we only get about 1 cent per stream, or less sometimes, we're going to need a lot more for those royalties to start actually contributing donations to charity. So get in there and give that record a few spins, or if there's some reason that you're not listening to the album at all, let me know down in the comments below why. I'm doing this to support the community, and you can help me make it as effective as possible in that mission. All right, let's listen to some of your music. Let's start off this month with Eggo Speaks, the band from Karthik, who was a very active member in our Discord early in Nurture's lifespan, who was always super encouraging and super engaged with me while I was kind of in the throes of a self-deprecation and wondering if the project was even worthwhile. So thank you for all your support back then, Karthik. I am really excited to hear this. I know that you're a good singer already, so I assume this is going to sound great. All right, we're going to start it off with some soundscapes. Can always appreciate a little bit of noise coming into a song. Ooh, Rhodes piano, classic. You need that sound. I feel like a Rhodes is an instrument in and of itself. And when you choose to play it, you're not just choosing to play a piano, you're choosing to bring in, you know, that very distinct tone. Oh, it sounds so beautiful. The production is really crisp, and the way you've got that guitar panned off to the side, just like glimmering at me. Wonderful. All right, and some percussion just like inching its way into the mix. Hello. So, Karthik says, we are Eggo Speaks, a band from India that started making music because we wanted to learn how to play instruments. It's a great reason to start making music. Never actually rehearsed before. We recorded this EP, and through recording and composing over the internet, we learned many things, including but not limited to, you should always use a metronome. That's so true. Like, I know that there's a lot of music that seems really like swingy and like a metronome wasn't used. I'm sure in some case people do use their natural rhythm, but even if you listen to like, you know, Nevermind by Nirvana, something you would definitely assume didn't have a metronome, it really does. And documentaries about making the album talk about how they didn't lock in and actually start getting work done until they like forced Kurt and Dave to go on a metronome. So yeah, absolutely crucial. You cannot record acoustic guitar on your phone. Yup, especially if you have dogs. But they're good dogs. I'm sure they're trying to contribute to the positive vibe. They were teaching you, at least. You need to learn how to use a DAW if you want to record music, correct? But irrespective of all that, we're happy with the way that the album turned out. We spent a lot of time trying to make the song sound as fresh and interesting as we could, and we hope you enjoy it. Sick. Yeah, and it does sound fresh with all that like textured ambience starting the record off, and then for your heavy guitar to come in after the clean vocal, that's neat. To like introduce an entirely new dynamic, you know, 2 minutes into the track. I definitely don't have that kind of constraint or restraint. Yeah, it's like you've kind of bridged a cinematic sort of atmospheric genre of music into a post-rock vibe while still maintaining that cinematic feel, you know, with the swirling synths and the Rhodes just kind of hanging out in the background, maintaining that backbone of ambience. Really cool. The drums are so beefy too. So if this is like a first effort on production, I know you've got like Sahil Matthew on doing all of your mixing and mastering. So if they're exclusively responsible for that and they learned how to do all of it from scratch, their mixing is terrific, you know, or at least it appears to be to me. Maybe it's not fair. It's the first thing I've listened to all month. Or for this month's commentary series. It's crazy if I say all month, because yeah, I go into a cloister and listen to nothing when I'm not doing Nerdle content. Okay, that was really rad. So that was Curtains featuring Angelina Phillip. I loved that. I'm going to skip the cover that you're doing called The Drugs Don't Work. If you are watching Karthik, you should let me know who that's by in the comments down below so that I can go check out on the original and maybe have a little bit of like contrast. I love that, like hearing what a band, especially a new band, how they kind of interpret a genre. So yeah, let me know in the comments what where that came from. I'm gonna go on to Automaton. I had a great experience with Angelina's feature here on the first track, so I really want to hear somebody else feature and see how they kind of sit in on these beginner musicians. You guys aren't coming off as beginner musicians. I don't know if you're like leveraging techniques that don't demand a lot of you, because it actually does sound really great. I think that's one of the wonderful things about art, you know, that as long as you can channel a feeling and as long as there's a distinct purpose behind what you're making, the experience isn't really, or your craftsmanship isn't always as important. All right, so first off, it seems like we've abandoned the Rhodes for a more grand piano vibe, and I can get behind that. Oh no, it's still Rhodes. Okay, you're just slamming it down. So you have an actual piano player, or is this all synthesizers? I think with the amount of dynamics between how the Rhodes sounded in the first one and this one, I would assume it had to be all natural. Oh, is this some poetry? This is so moving. Just like the austere instrumentation with somebody reading poetically, even if it isn't poetry. And you're locked into the metronome on this one. So if you're a new guitar player and you're already able to lock this well into a metronome, then you're gonna have a lot of fun in the future. I am noticing like a little bit of peaking, and that's okay. I know that like peaking your guitar's tone is one way to achieve like an overdriven sound, but it ends up getting like a little bit crispy and a little bit crunchy. So if you were going for more of just like a loud or driven tone, there might be a way to actually like give yourself a little bit more headroom and use compression, limiting, and stuff to get more punch without actually getting the crinkle on top. Then like I've wanted crinkle on guitar tracks before. I know that sometimes it feels like the right move. Sometimes in a live setting especially, but just a pinch, you know? I think maybe it's the bass playing. So if you have like an inexperienced bass player, you're using synth bass, or you're a new composer, the bass is still providing counterpoint, like melodically and rhythmically, which is nice. But it's moving slowly enough that it kind of provides that cinematic feel. I think maybe the drums in the same sense, you know? The cymbal work is really nice though. Like for a beginner drummer to be, doing patterns on a ride cymbal, and you're losing a little bit of that metronome tightness here. It's hard to find that balance between having something quantized to make sure that everything sounds tight and that everything kind of gets the space it needs, and having something with a lot of emotion, a lot of swing to it. It is really hard to strike that balance, so I appreciate that. My favorite thing to do is to line everything up first so that I can tell what's causing any kind of weird syncopation problems. Oh, here's some Karthik vocals. Yeah, you've got a vocal credit on the EP, so I imagine this is you. It's a very clear recording. Are you applying any auto-tune to your vocal? I know that it's a controversial topic, but I think a little bit of auto-tune can do a lot of good. It just makes it a little bit easier to listen to because your brain isn't trying to figure out how close to the note your voice is. However, given that this is something coming from India, I know that using different equal temperaments is popular there. So I just might not be good enough to know what your intention is with some of this stuff. Maybe it is auto-tuned to some like quarter tones. But if it's not, then I would definitely recommend just a little bit of auto-tune. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. You want to try to make it kind of, as transparent as possible. Very cool, Karthik. Yeah, you're a terrific musician if this is just your beginnings. And I hope that if you continue with this kind of thing, that you can maintain that sort of cinematic feel. And that integrity that this project is showing, that you're upfront about how you're doing this to learn, and you can hear that you're not pushing your techniques so hard because you want to serve the music, you want to make the music better. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of ego, and I love that. I love how honest it is, and like I said, I hope you can maintain that sort of integrity as you move forward with Eggo Speaks. I wonder if is that the dog? Is that the dog who is messing up the acoustic recordings? You'll have to let me know that as well. So thanks, Karthik. This was really great. Wonderful way to start it off. And thank you again for contributing and for supporting the series and supporting the other musicians who submit. All right, so this is a record that was submitted by Tumblr Sucks. They haven't distinctly attributed it to themselves, so they might be submitting this for a friend, someone named Kathy, according to their bio. Kathy, who screams a lot. And it was requested that I have a look at the third acoustic track. So I'm going to listen to the third track. I'm assuming they mean just like third overall. And yeah, we'll see. Like acoustic and screaming going together is a totally alien vibe to me. I have no idea, how people can conceive to make those two things go together cohesively. So I'm always really excited to hear how people put them together. So let's check it out. Ooh, and it looks like Alice from Garden Angel is on this one as well. Frig yeah, let's go. All right. Yep, pretty loud, pretty noisy right off the hop. Oh, the guitar is beautiful. You've got a real mall emo vibe going on with it, you know, the saves the day, Bayside, dashboard confessional aesthetic. And the vocals are sitting on top of it just the way you'd expect them to, I think. Which is strange from a Garden Angel feature. Wow, it sounds really great. It's really locking into the mall emo genre and vibe, and I am totally down for that. And even though the guitar is like so sharp and brittle, it's what this genre is supposed to be. It's actually really reminiscent of, you know, some of the more underground music that existed back in the mid-aughts. Oh, and you're gonna have a sample of like a conversation in here too. Or is it anime? The soundscaping and collages. This scene does like their soundscapes and collages. I'm into that. Hang in there, baby. Hang in there indeed. I'm actually loving this like chaos. The little syncopation on the double acoustic guitar tracks as you close them out. And now a second kind of acoustic, you know, emo song in the last like 30 seconds. Amazing. So this is the crazy thing, is that like I have no idea if that was even your own song at the end of the track, even though it fit with the genre perfectly because of the way that you guys use sound collages and this kind of thing. So Tumblr sucks. If you know who Kathy is, you should let me know if that last 12 seconds can be properly kind of attributed directly to this project, or if it was a sample. And maybe like how I can tell the difference, or if I'm even supposed to. But oh my god, yeah. So watermelon seeds inside me. Hopefully they grow a watermelon baby. : D smiley face featuring Garden Angel. This track, out of this whole like chaotic, you know, I don't even know what to call it. Like, what do you guys call yourself? Fifth wave emo? Out of every fifth wave emo song or bedroom Skramz song I've heard, I think this is absolutely my favorite version of it, with like, you know, a lot more restraint while still keeping all of those components of like kind of a difficult to listen to mix, but at the same time it serves the genre really well. It serves the genre's roots really well, but then also you're still innovating because you do have those kind of like garish vocals that are still on key and still have incredibly thoughtful lyrics, but they are different than the almost like forcefully clean vocals from maybe the first wave of this style of music. And then you still have the sound collage elements at the end, which I absolutely love. I think Goreblogs had been submitting stuff in the same vein. But anyway, if this is like the future of this genre, then I'm so down with it. If it kind of comes down a little bit and becomes a little bit more relatable for for old people like me, I'm so there for it. Really great, not difficult at all. Loved it. All right, so this is Dysphoria from Nora. Through Night Skies. Nora has been submitting for a really long time. I've had a wild range of experiences with Nora's content. Like, if you look at their submissions, right, they're incredibly prolific. They come out with an album every couple of months at least, and sometimes it's like ambient noise, and that's the full scope of what they're doing, and other times it's you know, completely well thought out and composed EPs recorded in a very short amount of time. So I'm gonna check out Drowning first, and we'll see if this is one of Nora's kind of like more challenging testing sort of Skramz type things. Then I might bow out after the first one, but who knows? Let's listen. That's one of the most exciting things about Nora. You never know. All right. We're starting with like some crushed guitar. This guitar is effectively powder at this point. So I'm expecting if this is our starting point, that the noise is going to escalate considerably as we listen. Driving bass line coming in. It's nice to know that there's like a rhythm to latch onto in something like this. I know that with noise songs, the hardest thing to keep me kind of like in the song is the lack of rhythm, because I don't really have that kind of sensibility for what people might consider like ear candy or like noise candy. It just doesn't tickle me the same way. It doesn't get me as excited as it gets some people. So I'm appreciating this rhythmic element a lot. I'm loving the ambient screams that you've added in the background. Yeah, so I think those 4 layers, the string, guitar, bass, and vocal, they're creating these like really haunting chords. Oh, that is amazing. I know some people criticize these screams for being too loud, but like, I don't know, maybe they haven't heard Through Night Skies before. That's wonderful. It's like an injection of what I expect from Through Night Skies, and it's actually like very restrained, like I want to say logical because that's like not fair, but like, I don't know, a restrained, humble track, like really well thought out. This is so cool. Like, it seems like all the instruments are actually super crushed sort of on their own tracks, as opposed to you just like taking the whole mix and smashing it together, which I can really appreciate. I like to hear all the differences. I actually loved that swelling scream, especially where I just had enough time to start appreciating the the more like subtle vocal elements in the background, and then to have that just like blown out of the water with a nice scream, just terrific. Yeah, give me one more before the end of the song. Let's go. It makes a lot of sense, Nora. I don't think I'm gonna criticize that at all. Like, of course you could restrain it and bring it back down to the mix, but I don't know. The dynamics of it there's a lot to appreciate in the dynamics of it. I think, I think if there's gonna be a loudest moment, let's go on. Let's go on to the second one and see if it continues. All right, so that was Drowning. I absolutely love that. And I need to take a second before we go on to Drifting to say that like, it's one of two things. Either it shows a new level of maturity for what you're doing with Through Night Skies, and maybe like a new level of seriousness, or at least a new level of intention, where it's like less improvised, like so well put together. I hope this isn't one of those moments for you as a musician that's like fleeting, and like it isn't one of those flashes in the pan where you had like locked into something really beautiful in yourself for this record, and then it falls away, if you intend to keep doing this. But then the other thing could be that I just like don't get it, that you've always had the ability to do this and you're choosing to dip in just for a little while to see what the waters are like. Both are fine and both are good, but if this is the direction that you're going in permanently, I think it definitely shows maturity and growth, and I love that. Like, I am so in and so excited to hear more. So let's do Drifting now. You've got that, oh man, it's like a whirring synth or something like that. It's almost how Daft Punk starts off: harder, better, faster, stronger. It's really ambient guitar, multi-tracked with another crushed layer, which is an interesting way to, I guess like apply an overdrive to a clean guitar while still maintaining it. And maybe that, I think it's strings in the background, but maybe it's just like really well-tempered feedback. And if that's the case, then like, hell yeah. Yeah, this is very cool. The way that the overdriven guitar and the strings kind of overtook the clean elements, while the clean elements still stayed and were still there on their own right. But just the kind of way you were able to differentiate parts of the song while staying in the same theme, just through the kind of swell and dynamics of the different elements. That's really interesting. It kind of like looks at a different dimension of music, like the way that you're playing with dynamics here, as opposed to most people we would choose, to change chords or melodies or even like thoughts, like lyrical content, in order to change from one part of the song to another. But you're just introducing volumes, different levels of volume. That's really interesting. I'm kind of greedily hoping that like really thick drum kit comes back in, because I loved that the first time. So I'd be stoked to hear it again. But I get it. I understand that austerity is kind of at the forefront here, and that just putting a heavy backbeat on it to please me would not necessarily serve the project as a whole. In some way it is kind of pulling me towards Dying though, just to see how this whole EP wraps up. So maybe it's like a narrative device that you've chosen not to have very many percussive elements in this one. Wow, yeah. Oh, that was so cool. So as that noise element kind of like left, the strings left, it kind of like looking at the ends of those threads from the other side now that the song's over, because you did slowly introduce them at the first, kind of allows me to even further appreciate how the dynamics led us around in that one. All right, that was so good. Nora, this is my favorite work you've put out to date. I see that you've got like a small poem down at the bottom. I'm just going to go over that before we go. So, I wish I could escape from this world, cruel limits of a body I never asked to inhabit, a blade circulated across false flesh of self. You wish for release, it never comes. The only salvation is to end yourself. Yeah, suicidal ideation is definitely at the bottom of a lot of the vibe, and it's a hard thing to cope with. It really is. So if that's something you're struggling with and you need some help, like, I'm always here. I've suffered from it myself, and it's especially relevant for me lately. So this music is beautiful. If this is even something could help pull you out of it, this music is good, and this music is enough. You are enough, Nora. Thank you for sending this in. You're supporting me. You are supporting mental health charities. You're supporting the other musicians who are part of this project. You matter. So yeah, thank you. All right, here we have Leah K. Blues Exploitation. This comes from Discord member Last Exit Ahead, who says that they want to be more active in the Discord, and I totally agree. You absolutely should be. Even just dropping in every now and then to listen to a couple of the things that people have posted and let them know that you're into it, or give them some feedback. I know that Shane gave me some feedback on my last release, and it was massive for me. It was actually terrifically inspiring, and I'm really excited to be applying that to a new release. So you could be that support for somebody and maybe scratch a little bit of your own creative itch, and you'll certainly scratch that itch of being more active in the Discord. So yeah, don't think just by making a commentary or a criticism of someone's work that you might be offending them. It's actually really helpful, and I find it inspiring. Let's listen to Larm first. So this is uploading live loop sessions nearly every day. They were doing this 6 years ago. This has 116 plays, which is actually pretty good for just like a naked spot or SoundCloud upload that hasn't been supported. I know that I've been doing a little bit lately, and it's difficult to get some kind of algorithmic attention. Oh, chuck them a like, of course. Ooh, it's interesting that the sampled elements are actually panned a little bit. I like that. I wonder how you achieve that. Do you have like a pan knob on your guitar, or this is so playful? And it's something that people maybe don't realize they're doing when they're playing, but when you first initiated that first kind of like quarter note, offbeat, upstroke chord thing, you were actually establishing a rhythm. There was a lot of bands and musicians back in the day who they only had themselves, or they, it was very hard to get drums to come through in a mix. And for that reason, they would use the guitar as the pure rhythmic element. So you laid down a good rhythmic element at the beginning, which is something that not all live loopers do. Sometimes it's difficult to make like popular sounding music in a live looping session because they haven't laid down that rhythmic element at the beginning. And now you've got the bass guitar kind of like driving us home. And actually having the rhythmic element be the guitar gives that bass a little bit more room for counterpoint and like allowing it to walk around and things like that, which I can appreciate too. So this is my thing with live looping. I feel like I've heard the scope of this idea, like a little bit over 1.5 minutes in, but I have a very short attention span. You might know that about me as a songwriter, so I might not be the target audience for this kind of thing. But it just makes me wonder how that first rhythm that you laid down, that first chord progression, it would be difficult to kind of explore any further limits on it because you've been kind of noodling over it for so long already. And it makes it kind of rigid, having to leave old layers kind of hanging around without kind of starting from scratch. It's hard to show how you can elaborate on that idea over and over again, for something like 5 minutes long. However, this kind of thing I find isn't usually super useful for active listening anyway. It's not super useful for sitting down, like decomposing it and taking it apart. As a guitarist, I find making this kind of thing just relaxing for me in the first place. So it's useful and good enough in that way on its own. It's just fun to do. And so that's cool. But I also know that this kind of thing can actually be really useful as a type of background music. So if you think about a cartoon or something like that, or some like farming sim game, which is the kind of thing that I'm used to playing, this could be absolutely one of those like summer songs where you walk out of your house and you're ready to feed your chickens and till your crops, and you've got this like constant bump-in, multi-layered kind of thing that's always there and has a lot of little layers to explore when you get kind of bored brushing your 16th cow because you're the best capitalist in your entire Harvest Moon town. All right, and I can see that you're kind of like dismantling it and pulling some layers out and things like that. You're showing that by subtraction, you can also add a bit of interest to the track. Oh, and it's all bass guitar too. That's really interesting. I never noticed that, or I never really brought that up. So you must have added a bit of like distortion and crunch on it and things like that. And you're certainly respecting the, upper register and keeping as much kind of like frequency width as you can on a single instrument. I actually think the like steady, like straightforward thing you've been doing in the second half, where you've just got a constant, I think it's like a 16th note going. When those are in, I think that actually does effectively change the original melody to kind of add a B section to something, even though it's all based on that same up-down movement. So that might be a lesson from this, is to like use those kind of things to pull the attention off the original rhythm and kind of give you a little bit more differentiation on your samples. It makes you really want to get into like Nick Reinhardt and whatever he's doing as a sampling kind of virtuoso, because I know that Nick has a great following for that kind of stuff. So there's got to be a way that it's done that I could sit and listen to 5 minutes of it. Yeah, really fun. I think you could actually probably crack, like if you're doing this every day, with like a very small amount of planning, you could probably crack out soundtrack style songs with this sort of thing, like just with a little bit of extra intention, as to where you're going, and then, drop an album of it and start pitching to like Universal Studios or the different music supervisors that take on TV shows or video games, because I think it would be really useful for that kind of thing. And it sounds like it was a really good time to make. So thank you, Leah K. Blues Exploitation. Welcome back to the Discord, and thanks you for choosing to contribute to support the other musicians in this project and support people's mental health through my activism and my album releases. Okay, so this is a little bit of a change of pace. We're going to listen to Newton's Cradle Mechanics by AEH. They're using a Nurture Nurture song as the background to this video, and that's why it's been submitted to Nerdle Content. So this is a funny little piece of history. When I first created the Nerdle Content channel, it was because the most popular element of our releases, and actually what continues to be the most popular element of our releases, is our royalty-free instrumentals. And what I wanted was a way to kind of see where those instrumentals were being used so that I could maybe cater their delivery more to the people who are actually using them. So I created the Nerdle content channel so that people could post the videos that they were using our music to soundtrack, which was not the case. And I'm so happy for how it did evolve. But this is actually what I was anticipating Nerdle content and Nerdle content review was going to look like. So I'm excited here because I know A is actually a really great drummer. So I'm expecting them to be an incredibly smart person. And I'm looking forward to kind of exploring their Newton's Cradle video here. Oh, it's kind of cool how you can see the reflection in it. Nice. What the heck, man? A is talking about it. I like a good snap cut. Great music by Nurture. Oh, that is so. All right, part two for your 7 subscribers who are into it. You've got some more subscribers now, including myself. Yeah, Newton was too busy like developing physics, so. Oh baby, we're doing a physics lesson. Wow. Did you measure that? 3.5 centimeters per second? Or did you measure it with a ruler or something? Or did you use math? Wild. Oh no, the Cradle doesn't go forever? Help me, A. Help me understand. I'm so confused. Yeah, man. So first of all, I did love that. I'm the kind of nerd that, is super into physics. I think when I first started my education, I was hoping to be some kind of experimental physicist. I loved the sick voice. The ASMR of the sick voice was actually very soothing. You're speaking so quietly. Maybe I actually like ASMR. That was really fun. And I really appreciate that you used the music and that you actually gave it some time to kind of showcase itself and breathe, and especially that you credited us. So thanks for that. And good luck with your channel. It looks like you've got double the subscribers you had when you made this. So yeah, get in there and subscribe, gang, A needs our help. All right, it would not be a monthly Nerdle content without some Calogin, but this I'm even more excited about than usual because this is a recording of a live set that Cal did. It looks like it's only 15 minutes long. So this is an entire set by Cal in 15 minutes. If you understand the usual length of a Calogin song, you gotta know that that's not a ton of time for Cal to get content in. So I'm imagining that if they're trying to blow people away, their first live set in this setting with just 15 minutes, that we're about to witness something pretty radical. All right, let's go. Flashing lights warning probably should go without saying, because Cal likes those jilting visual elements, but we love it for him, and we love it too. Yeah, so I'm gonna go check a subscribe in here. Let's go. The music is really cool so far. It's definitely a lot more deliberate, I guess, than what I'm used to from you, like melodically especially. Oh, let's go. Yeah. So we're gonna get Cal D&B version without insane polyrhythms or there's probably polyrhythms actually. This is so jacked up. Oh my god. Yes, I love that little bit of modulation on your snare there for a little kind of hook at the end of that phrase. Yeah, here come those tuplets and things like that. It's cool how you're using just tuplets on their own as a break, tuplets and tone shifts, whereas other people might just add a hit here and there or start the break at a different part of the bar. You're giving it a lot more character on the end of those beats. This is mind-boggling. I'm probably not going to look at the screen very much, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little difficult to watch. Maybe if I catch it to the corner of my eye, there's a new element going on in the rapidly changing slideshow. And I'm assuming VCV Reich is what created this absolutely terrific visual kaleidoscope, whatever it is. Yeah, that arpeggiator is it's doing something for me. Whew, I don't know if my heart can take it. Shit, this is so jacked up, Cal. What was the context for the set, I imagine if this was in a club, it would probably still be really good. I think if I was to enjoy this passively, just watching it as somebody sitting at their computer, like I am right now, I'd probably still enjoy it because the ambience and the melody is kind of enough to color this space, this office room for me. Meanwhile, the drum breaks, of course, are kind of what adds the interest, and they're changing. God, how long? It's been no time at all, right? Yeah, not even 3 minutes left, or not even 3 minutes in. Okay, got a new melody coming. I'm anticipating this means that we're gonna get some some kind of tonal change here. Let's go. Let's go. I'm getting so hyped. Knowing that there's going to be a breakbeat at some point, it just helps the mind. It helps the mind to preserve the hype in and of itself. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe this isn't going to be one of those DJ sets where everything has to blend seamlessly into each other. Maybe we're going to have a moment. Okay, yeah. The new melody, I guess, was just you having a thought out to the end of the song. I think it's fine to not have everything blend into each other. I think maybe in the boiler room, you might want to have something to bridge the tracks together. Now we're hearing a little harp introduce us to the next one. I'm in the Temple of Time, looking at my 3, I don't even know what they're called. Oh my god. The pendants, I guess? The pendants sitting there about to open the door of time for us. Did you do any of the stock photography yourself? You posted some really cool pictures of 2 cups in each other. I know when I started experimenting with the visual elements in music, they started off really janky, but very inspired. And this is kind of Feeling the same way with your stuff, like janky but inspired for sure, like enjoyable. Digging the strings. Are you using Labs, L-A-B-S, Labs library for your strings? I feel like I've heard these cellos before. Maybe it's the violin, I'm not sure. Oh my god, I hope I don't become one of those pretentious producers who is like, I know where that sample came from, poser. I think if you say poser like an old-timey villain, then you got more important things to worry about. This one's definitely like a bit of a breather. It's giving me a lot more time to hang out with myself. The breakbeats aren't as demanding, so I imagine maybe the next couple will get back up there. Oh, I like this part a lot visually. Whatever like automated like AI thing is deciding which parts of this geometry to move, it gets me, It's making me worry about the future of robots and mankind in general kind of a little bit, but oh, here we go. I guess one way, like using MIDI, I guess would be a really cool way. MIDI and FFmpeg probably be a pretty interesting way to kind of automate this sort of production. You'd still have to have a very artistic mind to add enough variation just using those two inputs to like create something as stimulating as this. So not trying to like oversimplify whoever created this wild technology. All right, Cal, this has been absolutely wild. I'm going to move on for now, and I'm going to come back and finish this because it is one of your first live sets. And I think it's really cool that you're breaking out this way. I know you're releasing your stuff publicly. Yeah, just so cool, man. And I actually really like the elements of this and kind of the thoughtfulness that went into it more than some of the other stuff, your kind of like prolific outputs, which I know is it's more stream of consciousness creation, and it's just you sharing kind of one of the more raw versions of yourself. And I do appreciate that vulnerability. And as always, I appreciate you submitting everything you do because like you are such a paragon of this project. It feels like it's as much yours as it is mine. So thank you for always supporting me, for being a mod in our Discord. So if y'all want to meet Cal and their wild mind for music and visuals, then make sure you join the Discord using the invite link in the description down below. All right, here we go with Racinate. This was submitted by Dash, who is a new Discord member. I'm really excited to finally be listening to this. There was a little bit of hype. I think Isabella was into it. Isabella and I have very similar tastes in what we listen to, at least what we appreciate. So I'm really excited to listen to this. Welcome, Dash. I hope you get some benefit out of me sharing this, and hopefully we can send some people your way. Racinate is available by building and dwelling on Spotify, so make sure you go check it out there. Ooh. Oh, man. So yeah, we get this every now and then in the Nerdle content series, and it's funny that I don't expect it, considering this is more the genre of music that brought me into math rock and Midwest emo. But yeah, this is it. This is like, it sounds like I'm listening to the boys, to Delta Sleep and to Color. It sounds great. It really does. And you've got those elements that Light brings in too, the staccato, whatever that is in the background. I don't know if it's a synth or keyboard. Maybe it's even a guitar. It's just processed in a way I'm not used to. Oh, that was an interesting little Zappa modulation that happened there. You're definitely more appreciative of repetition than I am. I wish I could have this kind of patience. Ooh, okay. When the drums get back, they decide to be a halftime. Yeah, the emotional breadth here is really great. I feel like it's almost hard for me to review this sort of stuff correctly because I'm so biased to loving it. I've conditioned myself listening to Rooftops and Physics House Band that do weird modulations and use synthesizers to just love this stuff. It kind of reminds me of Small Leaks Sink Ships as well. The rawness of your vocals, I guess I would say. That's probably not the word though, because they are really well thought out. Ooh, I can do a gang vocal with you. I think some originality to it that I'm not expecting. I guess it feels pretty at home in a Midwest emo song, but not in that vein of math rock that kind of skews towards the Japanese style, which is what that kind of constant repeating thing. So that repeating thing is pulling me over to Light, and then your screams are pulling me to Midwest emo. By Light, I mean the Japanese math rock band Light. I think they're from Japan. I know I've been wrong before though. I think Toe is from Hong Kong, and everyone's like, they're from Japan, and Toe's like, no. Yeah, I think there's a subconscious crossing of these genres often. I think Nurture is definitely a product of those two inspirations coming together, the old Midwest emo and math rock, of the kind of 2010s or whatever. But I feel like this is a much better application than sort of what I was going for, or a much purer application of that fusion. You're really taking some of the best parts of both genres and at their extremes, not in their sort of most accessible forms, and creating a new thing out of it. I can really appreciate that. So thank you, Dash. That was sick. I can't wait to listen to more. Okay, y'all. The Grill Cheese has delivered us a live God set. If you haven't watched this yet, I hope it's for a very good reason. I hope you're supporting a loved one in some way that I'm just kidding. I hope there's nothing wrong with anybody that you love at all. Go watch this Gods video. I'm gonna sub. Here we go. Like and sub to the grilled cheese right now. I'm liking and subbing for the algorithm. I am so hyped to watch this Gods live set. Let's go. I'm even excited to see how they kick it off. You know, they have such a presence to them, and I'm so used to seeing them in a live format, which is nice, which is a relief coming out of the pandemic where live shows have been, you know, barely possible at all. Even in this sort of like asocial way, I'm happy to see them. Is this a new beard for your bass player, or is this just a thicker beard? Maybe they were wearing a hat last time. I don't know. I'm happy to see them kind of out and looking so stylish in this one. Desi, you've been like my social in with the band, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe the less baseball caps on other members is helping me like get to know them. Maybe it's the clearer camera. Of course, I'd love to get to know all of Gods just as well as I know Desi. That shirt is dope. Boy's just gonna sit in the groove. Oh, did the eye contact. Des, the eye contact. I don't know how you guys achieve this. Like, you must just practice non-stop to be this good in a live setting, or to be this relaxed, you know? Relaxed but on time. You're a stickler band for being on that beat, man. Oh, dotted eighth note. What was that? It's gonna kick. Oh yeah, here it comes. Here it comes, that kind of ambient, slowly building part. Apparently I have to get a lot more familiar with the Gods catalog. Do you have that smoke machine synced up to a foot pedal? What a godlike move. I can understand if that technology exists though. Musicians are such weird creative people that like having a MIDI out or a MIDI in for a smoke machine just seems like it should definitely already exist. Yes, boys, go! It's kind of interesting. So like even bands that do have vocals might open a set with this kind of like jacked up, you know, very ambient thing, but at the same time, like, I think if you just keep doing it, because they continue on this vein, like most of their songs have this like great sensibility about like tension and release, building you up with the instrumental before dropping you off. I think bands use that as an introduction because it makes sense to get the crowd hyped. But I guess if you just do it for your whole set, you just maintain the hype. You protect the hype. I'm wondering if you guys like actually mix all of your own live sets too, because like the tone is always really consistent. It's always bang on. It's always, you know, close to the record. I guess you could probably do that by priming your live gear as well. Whoa! Did somebody like loop the bass and then pick up a guitar? That has to be what happened. That's so cool. Yeah, Des got the smile going. He's like, this is sick. It is, man. You are 100% right. This is sick. Oh no, okay, so the bass wasn't looped. The guitar must be looped or something like that, or sampled in? How did you guys do that? Oh, okay, the bass is just like heavily distorted. And maybe it's got some kind of like fifth harmony going on with an effects pedal? I have no idea what's going on. Maybe that whole lead was just the bass? Yeah, guys, this is beyond good. It's like mesmerizing too. Like I've almost completely lost my sense of time watching this. You guys look so warm. That was so tight. That was unreal, Gods. Woo! All right, I'm coming back and watching the rest of this very, very soon. But you know, we got to get on with neural content for the month because we have to support other amazing musicians like you guys who always send your stuff to neural content, which I greatly appreciate. I so much appreciate the fact that Gods like this and Gods the band are supporting this project, supporting the other musicians who are submitting to this, and giving a few kind words to the people in the Nurture community. So thank you guys. Thank you for helping me support mental health, and thank you for just performing absolute bangers live in what appears to be a very hot room. All right, here we have AU/RA, Alan Walker. I don't know if this is another persona from the Blue Orphan, potentially. I know that there's been a big time Rush. Pete has been one of their personas, and it's also like, you know, I know you have your like myriad music personas around the internet, one of which lives on Newgrounds, which I totally love. That aesthetic is just, you know, so in my mainframe. So I also know that AU-RA, it's probably some kind of like chemical balance, chemical equation. AU, is that gold? I'll never know. Let's listen to this. I know Alan Walker is a composer that Blue Orphan really likes. So if we're hearing a cover of one of their tracks, I'm assuming it's going to be terrific. Now that I know the Blue Orphan has a YouTube channel, boom. Subscribed, liked. We got the multi-layered Blue Orphan with like a heavy old backbeat. Let's go. This is sick. Is this Old Town Road? Is this an Old Town Road cover? I am really liking it though. It's so fun. You're such an enigma. Blue Orphan, like, how do you even decide what you're gonna do from day to day musically? And also, what game is this? I feel like I should probably know. I'm a self-proclaimed gamer, and I don't know what I'm looking at here, so it looks like it'd be really good. It also looks like this person has way too much, you know, gear on them to move effectively, and yet they're shaking those hips to this banger. How you doing, Sam? That guitar swelling back in before the backbeat comes on. Ooh, well, at least enjoy it. Using an idle animation in a video game as a cinematic for your song is like, it's good. It's good. I like it. I like that vibe, that aesthetic. That's gonna get a thumbs up from me. Just one at least. I'm not gonna go two because I don't know how it's playing out in the visual meta yet. I feel like if you combined this with like Calogin sensibilities, you know, just like a very dramatically kaleidoscoping video game idle animation would be kind of cool. Use like a gacha game, like an anime gacha game, flashing constantly. Man, that solo in the background that you've got filter swept. Like, why is it filter swept? You're shredding! Let me hear you. I know it was appropriate. I know, I'm being greedy. It definitely suited the mood really well. Oh my god, and coming out of it. Okay, so this song is like very tongue-in-cheek almost, the way that it's like hip-hop and country at the beginning, but now we're starting to get this like, this sensibility that the Blue Orphan has to make stuff just like so, I don't know, like soothing? Like hopeful? Triumphant? Hopeful. I think it's hopeful. I think it's the end of an anime episode where you know the person is going to overcome the bad guy in the next episode. Like Dragon Ball Z would drop you just before Gohan was powerful enough to defeat Cell in the championship, in the tournament. I think it's Cell who went. I think it's Gohan. So anyway, Blue Orphan, amazing. As always, your endings are getting even better. It's like you added a dimension to your ending. You almost changed the vibe of the song entirely just to give us a reason to stick around till the end. I know. I always say this to you, but like Blue Orphan endings are gold standard Nerdle content track endings. Calogin's coming up though. Calogin, you're getting there with some of the ways that you're introducing new melodies at the end of your tracks. Phenomenal song, Blue Orphan. Thank you so much for referring to Depression Verses as Frank Zappa. I don't know if I can agree. Frank Zappa is a wild musician, but they're definitely dense in terms of musical technique, and I can appreciate that. And thank you for that praise. I appreciate it so much. Just a reminder for everybody else: Depression Verses is the EP that Nurture released just last month. We're sending all of the sales and royalties to charity. So if you go buy it on Bandcamp right now, 100% of what you pay for that, even the cut that Bandcamp takes, I cover that and send it to charity. One for one, we're supporting the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation because it's a way for internationally people to benefit from mental health research, brain research. So again, thank you, Blue Orphan. That is actually our last bit of Nerdle content for the day. Thank all of you for being here for it. I would love for you to come support this community, be one of the musicians that these people are lifting up and that I'm lifting up through this Nerdle content series by joining the Discord, using the invite link down below. Thank you to all of the musicians who are supporting this project by submitting, and who are supporting each other by putting a kind word about anything in the Nerdle content channel. I will talk to you all next month. If you would like to get these videos and the EPs I've been talking about early, you can become a patron by clicking on the Patreon link in the description down below. You're going to get a new sticker every month that comes from the classic illustrations I make in all of our music videos, and you can also get entered for a chance to win the physical piece of mixed media album artwork I commission from a local artist in my area every time I make a new EP. That's once every 2 months. So if you find that interesting, you can become a patron by joining the Patreon using the invite link in the description down below. Thank you all so very much. I can't wait to talk to you again soon.